In the heart of a lush, green valley, nestled among sparkling streams and rolling hills, lay a village called Evergreen. It was a place where simple, hard-working people lived in harmony with nature and cherished their traditions. At the very center of the village stood a gigantic, ancient oak tree, which the villagers affectionately called Grandfather Oak. Legend whispered that this magnificent tree had watched over Evergreen for centuries, its ancient spirit connected to the feelings of everyone who lived there. They said that when the village was united, its leaves would shimmer with a soft, golden light, a sign of its contentment, and when there was discord, its branches would droop, as if in sorrow. Among the villagers was a curious and brave young boy named Arin. Arin had an adventurous spirit and loved nothing more than exploring the dense forests and high hills that cradled his home. He would often return with incredible stories of hidden waterfalls cascading into secret pools, mysterious caves that echoed with the whispers of the wind, and rare, vibrant flowers that bloomed in secluded glades. But of all the wonders he discovered, his favorite place was right in the heart of the village, beneath the sprawling, protected branches of Grandfather Oak. Here, he felt a profound sense of peace and inspiration. He would spend hours leaning against its sturdy trunk, listening to the rustle of its leaves and feeling the ancient wisdom that seemed to flow from its roots deep into the earth. One year, a shadow fell over the idyllic village of Evergreen. A terrible drought descended upon the valley. The sun beat down relentlessly, day after day, turning the once lush fields brown and brittle. The sparkling streams that had crisscrossed the landscape dwindled to mere trickles, and soon they dried up completely. The crops, once the pride of the village, began to wilt under the scorching heat. The vibrant green turned to a sad, dusty yellow. The animals in the surrounding forests, desperate for water, started to wander closer and closer to the village, their cries a mournful reminder of the land's thirst. For the first time in memory, fear and worry crept into the hearts of the villagers. The harmony that had defined Evergreen for so long began to fracture. Disagreements arose and bitter. Farmers, whose livelihoods depended on the land, argued fiercely over the last remaining drops of water. Neighbors who had once shared everything now quarreled over dwindling resources. Familias, driven by fear, began to hoard what little they had, closing their doors and their hearts to those in need. Arin was deeply troubled by the change that had come over his home. The laughter that once filled the village square was replaced by anxious whispers and angry shouts. He couldn't bear to see his community tearing itself apart. His heart heavy, he ran to his sanctuary, Grandfather Oak, and sat beneath its vast, silent branches. The tree looked different now. Its leaves, usually so full of life, seemed dull and lifeless. The golden shimmer was gone. Arin rested his head against the rough bark and whispered, his voice barely audible, "What can we do, Grandfather Oak? How can we save our village? We're losing everything, including each other." He closed his eyes, pouring all his sadness and hope into that one desperate question. That night, as the moon cast a silvery glow over the silent village, something incredible happened. Arin was awakened by a soft, ethereal light. He looked up and saw the leaves of Grandfather Oak glowing gently, but this was not the familiar golden shimmer. Instead, the light formed shapes, like a shadow play against the night sky. He watched, mesmerized, as the leaves depicted scenes of people working together. He saw figures planting side by side, others carrying buckets of water in a long, unified line, and families sharing food from a single, communal table. It was a vision of hope, a message from the ancient tree. Arin realized what Grandfather Oak was showing him. The village could not only survive but thrive again, but only if everyone worked together. The magic wasn't in waiting for rain. It was in their unity. The next morning, filled with a newfound purpose, Arin raced to the village square and rang the old meeting bell. Villagers emerged from their homes, their faces etched with worry and suspicion. At first, many were skeptical. They were still caught in their anger and fear, and the idea of cooperation seemed impossible. But Arin stood tall and spoke with a conviction that belied his age. He told them about the vision under Grandfather Oak, describing the glowing leaves and the scenes of unity. Then, he shared his plan, a simple but powerful blueprint for survival. First, he proposed water sharing. Villagers would form teams and take turns making the long journey to a distant spring in the high hills. the only one that hadn't dried up. They would bring back water for everyone, ensuring that every home and every farm received a fair share. No one would go thirsty. Second, he suggested crop cooperation. Farmers would pool their remaining seeds and share their tools. Those with stronger plots would help those whose land had suffered most. They would work together, tilling, planting, and nurturing the crops as one large family. And third, he called for forest care. The children and adults would work together to plant new saplings and repair the dried-up stream beds, creating channels to guide any future rainfall. This would not only help the forest recover but also protect the wildlife and prevent such a devastating drought from happening again. Slowly, as Arin spoke, a change began to stir in the crowd. His words, filled with hope and the wisdom of Grandfather Oak, resonated deep within them. One by one, the villagers began to nod in agreement. People who had quarreled just the day before looked at each other and saw not rivals, but neighbors in need. The transformation was remarkable. Children, who had been listless and bored, eagerly ran errands together, their laughter once again echoing through the village. Farmers, who had guarded their knowledge jealously, now exchanged tips and worked side by side in the fields. The elders, with their lifetimes of experience, offered guidance and encouragement to the younger generation. Everyone contributed in their own way, finding a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. Days turned into weeks, and despite the persistent drought, the village began to come back to life. The shared water nourished the small, resilient sprouts in the fields. The animals, finding the repaired streams and the water left for them, began to retreat back into the healthier forest. The village, once on the brink of collapse, felt alive and vibrant again. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and purple, Arin walked past Grandfather Oak. He looked up and gasped. The leaves were glowing with a brilliant golden light, brighter and more magnificent than he had ever seen before. It was as if the tree was singing with joy. Soon, all the villagers gathered beneath its radiant canopy, their faces filled with awe and gratitude. They understood. The tree wasn't just celebrating the return of life to the fields, it was celebrating the return of unity to their hearts. In that moment, Arin realized something even more profound. The true magic of Evergreen wasn't just in the ancient tree. It was, and always had been, in the hearts of the villagers. The drought had been a terrible test, but it had also been a powerful teacher. It reminded them that kindness, patience, and teamwork were forces capable of overcoming even the greatest challenges. From that day forward, the people of Evergreen continued to care for each other, their forests, and their fields, with a renewed spirit of cooperation. Every year, they celebrated their survival and their unity under the golden boughs of Grandfather Oak. They would light lanterns that floated into the night sky like tiny stars and share stories, ensuring that the powerful magic of working together would live on in their village forever. The story of Evergreen teaches us a beautiful lesson, that even in the hardest of times, when we work together with kindness, patience, and courage, we can create our own magic and bring hope back to life. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales that inspire and uplift. Until next time, stay united and keep growing together.